Do you feel we're playing good football? Do you feel you understand what the system is? And do you feel that we're starting to get close to building a starting 11 that can take us anywhere near the top 6 in the Premier League next season? I think there are more questions than answers after the game tonight. I think there has been high points. I thought Bournemouth on Thursday was good. You could argue that we look tired today after a very intense 3 games in a week. But also, Ruben Amorim said himself before the game that he wanted to try out new things. And I said, and some of you agreed with me and some of you disagreed with me, it felt like we were looking to run before we can walk. This is a team that doesn't understand his system and doesn't play good football. And we're trying out new things, which I would class as plan B and C when we haven't really learned plan A. So, look, Cunha today learnt what Ronaldo, Martial, Rashford, Cavani, Rasmus learnt. You can play up front for Man United and be the invisible man. I mean, he was just wasted. Absolutely wasted. Now, Cunha to me, when I think about Cunha, and predominantly I'm talking about a Wolves player because he's not been at United long enough, Cunha to me is a guy that gets the ball on the centre circle and moves with acceleration in towards the penalty box. He is absolutely that player. And if we bought Cunha to play him as a striker, I wish we'd left him at Wolves. I know he can play as a striker. I know he can do a job as a striker. I know he's done it for Brazil. But the player I saw at Wolves is the player I want at Man United. This player that can get the ball, dribble with the ball, make things happen. He was wasted today up front. It didn't work. I don't want to see that again. And Burmo, great to see 45 minutes of him, and his passing is good. The transitions were good. But across the game, Everton probably played the better football and certainly did deserve the draw. So I think when I look at the team today, the biggest problem I have is the midfield. And lots of people are talking about Agate, but you could similarly say Bruno was as bad. Like, you know, Bruno had a bad game. I don't care what anybody says. We can protect him. We can't, you know, whatever you want to do. And maybe Mainu didn't have a good game as well. And is Casemiro really the solution? And Collier's not even getting a look in. So our midfield options are terrifying when you think about it. Like, you've got Agate, Mainu, Collier, Casemiro, Bruno, and, you know, we can talk about goalkeepers, we can talk about strikers, and they are essential, and we'll talk about whether we're ready for the season or not. But when I look at Manchester United and I look at the season where Ten Hag finished 8th, that midfield didn't exist. And when I look at last season where we finished 15th, that midfield didn't exist. You need a good midfield in the Premier League. Newcastle have got a good midfield. Villa have got a good midfield. Brighton have got a good midfield. We do not have a good midfield. And it doesn't matter how good your defence is or how good your attack is. If you don't have a good midfield, you're going to struggle. Games are won and lost in the midfield. You know, the oldest cliche in the book. We don't have a midfield. I don't know what our midfield is for Arsenal. Is it going to be Bruno and Casemiro again? I mean, we've got a real problem in midfield, and lots of people keep saying it. You know, people talk about a striker and a goalkeeper, what we're going to do in the midfield. It's a valid point. Like, we've got a huge problem. Is it that 2 doesn't work? Do they get overrun? Is it that the 2 we've got aren't good enough? I think if you're going to play a midfield 2, you've got to have 2 absolute beasts. Discipline, intensity, aggression, and ball players. And we haven't got 2. We haven't got 1 disciplined, intense, aggressive ball-playing midfielder. And we need 2 in that midfield too, and we haven't got 1. So I'm very worried about the midfield. And I'm not going to be negative and say we're going to have a bad season, and I'm not going to be negative and say Amorim's going to be sacked by Christmas or anything stupid like that. What I am going to say is I'm very worried about the midfield. You could also say, what's our front 3 going to be? Who's our 2 number 10s going to be? Who's our wing backs going to be? Who's our 3 centre-backs going to be? I mean, you could almost look through the whole team and go, I'm uncertain on who the goalkeeper is, who the back 3 is, who the wing-backs are, who the midfield 2 are, who the number 10s are, who the striker's going to be. I mean, you could literally look at the whole team 2 weeks out from Arsenal and go, I don't actually know much about that team apart from the fact that Bruno will play every game, and Cunha will probably play a lot, and Mbeumo will play a lot, and Ahmad will play a lot. But where they'll play, I don't know. But look, fundamentally, let's not overwhelm ourselves with questions that will become answered in the next few weeks. The big thing nobody can reassure me about at the moment is that midfield is in any way ready for a Premier League season. I don't even know what it is. And I certainly think that, look, if we talk about Ugarte first, it was a bad game, but I like Ugarte. I thought he played well against Bournemouth. So it was a bad game. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think he's a player that we need to get rid of. It was a bad game. That can happen. Mainu, I don't know where he fits in. You know, he gets taken off and you see another opportunity disappear. And I know he's about to sign a new contract, and I know he will sign that contract, and I know the club want him to sign it. But I keep asking the question about Mainu, where's he going to play? Like, where is he actually going to get minutes in a Man United side that struggles?